Rita.
Well, you talked about Pope Francis's complicated legacy, and he did lean into all sorts of issues that you wouldn't expect the Pope to lean into, like global warming, at a time where Christians were being persecuted in many parts of the world. How will he be ultimately remembered? What do you think his legacy will be?
You know, Rita, how they say a legacy is in the eye of a beholder, and people much smarter than I will debate this for years. But the interesting thing about that is, on one hand, you know, he did focus a lot on the environment. Now, as Christians, we believe we do have a responsibility to look after this gift from God. We have to be good stewards of this land. But, you know, I was listening to your discussion before we came on air, and the problem with the Pope Francis papacy sometimes for, you know, practicing Catholics, and I don't want to even say conservative because people use that as a way to diminish them or demean them, but people who were just serious about their faith, believed what they preached. You know, the Pope always reached out to the LGBT community. He made it more welcoming and more accepting on one hand. But then on the other hand, he said just last year that gender ideology was the greatest evil of our time. I remember standing outside the Basilica reporting on that. Now, the problem with his legacy and with his reputation, I think he was misrepresented because, as you know, a lot of media outlets, when they hear a phrase like the Pope saying, "Who am I to judge?" It's the front page of the New York Times, it's leading all the news bulletins. But when he says, look, we should be more welcoming, but the sacrament of marriage remains and will never change. It will be between a man and a woman. That doesn't really go as viral or doesn't get picked up. So I think sometimes Francis, he wasn't much different than Pope Benedict when you really read what they said, but certainly his tone was different, and that was what got him his legacy and reputation that he has today.
Colm, Flynn, thanks so much for talking to us from Rome. There's lots more we could chat about, China and the Pope and so on, but we've got to leave it there. But thank you for telling us all about that and those insights there. Fantastic stuff.